Welcome to the Secret Rooms podcast. Shh. In these secret rooms, we dive into the unseen spiritual realm, drawn from revelation, real-life experiences, and biblical truth. I'm Sharon Razia. You can also call me Sherry, and I'm here to help you awaken and transform so you can stop living on autopilot. Each episode is meant to provoke and pull you toward the desires and purpose written into your spiritual design. And because spirituality is a part of real life, we'll also talk lifestyle, relationships, the messy moments, the growth, and the faux pas we've learned from.
Qu'est-ce que je vais te nommer dans mon cœur? L'amour sans logique à la raison.
Hey roomies! So I woke up this morning and chose drama. So for today's episode of Secret Rooms, we're talking reckless versus refined. I put together this list of behaviors, choices, habits, and energies that can tip either way. I feel like there's this very fine line between being bold and being careless, whether you're living in your power or losing the entire plot. So I wanted to explore with you how to spot it, how to own it, and see where the self-awareness lies for all my self-awareness queens and kings. I'm excited to get into this topic, but first, what's everyone doing? Are you on your way to work? Are you walking? Are you driving? Are you cooking? Are you exercising? What do people do when they're listening to podcasts? I personally love listening to them while I'm either walking or driving. I feel like that's my moment of just really paying attention and thinking. Some people listen to podcasts at the gym, and I don't know how you do it. Kudos to you for having that much discipline. But for me, I need like some reckless music when I'm working out, kind of yelling in my ear, getting me to do the things. To each their own, I guess. I am right now sitting at the round table in my master bedroom by this large window, overlooking the entire neighborhood covered in white. Looks so beautiful and peaceful. I am already 2 coffees deep, and it's only like 10:30 a.m. So the energy is really giving, so let's get started. What you guys don't know about me is that I love making lists, and my lists have lists and categories and subcategories and highlights and all of that stuff. So here we go. We are going to get into reckless versus refined. So we're starting with category number 1, mindset and energy. We have what's reckless versus what's refined. Number 1, bragging about toxicity, toxic behavior, revenge, and drama versus owning your boundaries and peace. So setting up boundaries around yourself, not blurting out your business for everybody in the world to know about, or just, in a public setting, causing toxic behavior in those spaces, but instead keep it internal. Don't internalize it, but deal with it within your boundaries, within a safe space, from a place of peace. Number 2. Okay, so for women, competing with other women, and for men, competing with other men. Although I feel like there's a little bit of a nuance here, because part of the male energy is to compete with other men, but it's not in a toxic way. So I'm going to focus on women here. Competing with other women. This is the refined. Celebrating other women while staying in your lane, because when you're on your own lane, you are focused on your path and what you need to do and your goals and your things that you want to accomplish. You don't have time to look at the next girl, the next woman, and say what she's doing and what she's not doing. Sis, it's not your biz. Focus on you, focus on your goals, stay clear of that reckless behavior. So for men, the version of competition that's reckless is when it's toxic, when they are putting others down in group settings, they are tearing people down just to make themselves look better, or they're really loudly boasting about their own achievements and accomplishments. That gives really toxic, and it's just not conducive to a refined character in a man. It doesn't make them look like healthy males with healthy egos. Healthy competition, when it's refined, it sharpens their sense of purpose rather than feeding and amplifying the ego. It pushes them to become better inward and then outward, but not louder. It's this sense of self-mastery where the focus is on discipline and becoming more excellent instead of trying to dominate a room or dominate other people or control other people. In that kind of environment, respect kind of just flows and forms naturally because men will recognize that integrity and effort and consistency and discipline in the other. So it really gives masculine energy a real direction. It channels their ego, their drive, their goals, their inner person, their competition, their need for hunting, their need for achieving. It channels all of that into growth rather than aggression or toxicity. And over time, it creates this like quiet confidence. And I love a quiet confidence in any person, man or woman, because a real confidence comes from a deep sense of knowing yourself, knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, and showing up authentically. That's what I truly believe in. And you can always tell when someone's confidence isn't real because it'll be the insecurity showing up in a boastful, loud way or in a toxic, competitive way. Number 3, performing femininity for male attention. And honestly, men do this too, performing masculinity for validation. It's the same type of energy, it just looks a little bit different. But what makes this reckless isn't the femininity or masculinity itself, it's the performing of it. So when the energy is worn like a costume, it doesn't fit, it slides off and it doesn't hold, and people can feel it and see right through it when something's being acted out rather than actually lived out. So as a woman, feminine energy is meant to be embodied, not put on display on the outward. It's not something that you can just put on for somebody else either. It's something that has to come from deeply rooted self-growth and self-learning and awakening the real version of yourself. When it's real, it doesn't need an audience for it to come out because it's kind of embodied in who you are and it's there in your every single day. It's how you get ready in the morning. It's how you do your nighttime routines. It's how you eat. It's how you sleep. It's how you dress. It's how you speak, how you behave. It's there, but it has to be embodied from the inside out, from who you really are and from discovery. And when it is truly embodied from a place of self-discovery and just growing and moving into the person that you're meant to be, so when it's truly embodied in its fullness, no one can look at you and say, this is not who they really are, or they're just putting on this act, or this is just a version that they're portraying for an audience, but it's actually who you are all the time. When you're alone, when you're in a crowd setting, it doesn't really matter. You're kind of that person all the time, masculine or feminine. You don't need an audience for that version of yourself to exist, pretty much. It flows very naturally and it oozes out of you. The moment your masculinity or femininity, so, leaning into one of those polar fields, the moment that becomes a strategy so that you could be chosen or desired, validated, approved, it actually loses its power because performance breaks down and it's fragile. It's not something that is long-lasting or something that can be truly felt by other people. They will see it and they will immediately judge that as performance. So refinement comes from that alignment, from being so deeply settled into who you are that your energy doesn't bend to be consumed by somebody. It simply exists exactly how you are, the true, authentic form of who you are. And the right people will respond to it the right way. Number 4. Okay, so this is a thought that has been trending for, let's say, the past 2 years. It's an old thought. It's a traditional view that's been taken into 2024, 25, 26 and modernized to fit the current culture. And it's popular, but just being popular does not make it refined. So what it is manifesting a wealthy partner without doing any of the inner work. That to me feels reckless. Not because wealth is wrong and being provided for is not wrong either. Both of those are great. But because outsourcing your entire sense of self-worth, sense of safety and security, purpose and provision, and your ability to expand into the person that you're supposed to be. Outsourcing all of that to another person, to me, feels so unstable that it's reckless. What's refined is co-creating a life with someone who meets you at the level of your own discipline and devotion and drive. And that might mean that you have very different paths or very different ways that you show your discipline and devotion and purpose and growth and all of that stuff. You might be showing it in different ways, but they carry equal weight. The way that you carry out those characteristics might look different, but you both carry it in equal weight. So that equal seriousness about life, equal commitment to growth, equal commitment to expanding and becoming the best versions of yourself, that needs to be equal. There's a lot of talk about that soft life, and softness is gorgeous, but softness without depth or purpose or strength becomes emptiness. Just having an easy life without intention, what does that result in? That results in stagnation. Just imagine it for a second in your head. Just, being a soft life girly, not having your own purpose, not having your own destiny or your own anchor, something that is pulling you forward. Not having that, it becomes stagnation. And a life without real contribution, it eventually starts to feel really hollow. No matter how comfortable it looks like from the outside, no matter how comfortable it is to just go get your nails done and go to yoga classes and watch TV shows all day and just live that certain soft life, it does become hollow after a while. And I feel like everybody needs that sense of purpose to anchor them forward in life. Like, you're not here by accident. You were given skills, desires, discernment, and a calling by God for a reason. So refinement is honoring that. It's being aware of that. It's discovering and growing into that. It's asking yourself, how am I cultivating what's already inside of me? So what you bring to the table doesn't have to mirror what a partner brings, but it should carry the same level of energy and weight, the same effort, the same integrity. Contribution can look different, but it should never be absent. So yeah, refinement is being honest and real. It's self-respect. It's knowing that partnership isn't about being carried by someone else, so someone else carrying all the heavy weight, but it's about building something together so that you are both purposeful. You are both equally exerting yourselves in a way that feels so fulfilling. Number 5, tearing other people down to feel empowered. This one's never sat right with me for obvious reasons, because there's something deeply off about someone using someone else's weaknesses as a way to prop themselves up. Because we all have blind spots, we all have areas where we're learning, stretching, trying to fix or grow from, and areas where we're just not there yet. But when someone is truly content in their abilities, their presence doesn't need to compare. There's no urge to diminish anyone else because confidence is self-contained. It doesn't borrow energy from something negative or comparing yourself to someone else to gain something. It doesn't need a target. So refinement looks like this: owning your shine without making anyone else smaller. You can be powerful, capable, self-assured without ever stepping on someone else to prove it. The moment that empowerment requires another person to be diminished or made small, it stops being power and it starts revealing insecurity. Number 6, this is the last one in the mindset and energy category. So it's chasing trends versus cultivating an original voice. And I want to throw so many exclamation marks on this topic because this is so important to me. It's something that I truly believe in and stand behind. So when someone is constantly hopping on from what's popular in one season to what's popular in the next, they have no anchor. There's no discernible point of view, no real voice that you can recognize. And without that, there's nothing for people to connect to. So you can feel this especially on social media, scrolling past account after account, and everything just starts looking the same, sounding the same, using the same language, using the same products, people wearing the same things. Nothing is wrong with it, but nothing stands out either. There's no texture, there's no real presence. And you will know that you're usually drawn to people who are a little bit different, people who have specific nuances about themselves, or a different type of voice, a different type of message. There's something different about them or what they're saying or what they're doing that's drawing you into them. They could become more relatable because they're more real. And what draws people in is originality. It's not performing or perfection or a super polished look and feel. It's originality. You can feel when someone is speaking from a place that's actually their own. And I feel like authenticity has a sound of its own. Like, you can feel it, you can sense it, you can taste it. And this matters to me personally because it's how I try to show up no matter where I am, whether it's the way I'm dressing or in the content I'm creating, or how I show up at work, or how I show up in ministry, or just anywhere that I go, how I dress, how I do things. I try my best to show up in my truest form and not conform to a pattern, or not conform to how everybody else is sounding or how trendy things are looking, and, styles and personalities and expressions. I try my best not to conform too much to those things, although sometimes it's fun to hop on the bandwagon for a short time. But I really like to emphasize how important it is to come from a place of your true identity. The person that you're meant to be is the one that is meant to show up in your circles and your networks. So, as an example, I've been in the communications and marketing field for many years, and over the past 10 years, I've been working with leaders specifically in technology or tech and finance, and working in creating and building out brands for them. And, making them a branded personality who is somewhat of a thought leader in their industry. And one of the first things that I say to them is to strip away the jargon, because a lot of these leaders, in order to get people excited and to be a part of the corporation that they're in, they tend to use heavy language that the company uses overall, so the branded language. They start using that language a lot. And then they also use a lot of trendy terms from technology and thought leadership out there. And one of the first things I tell them is, let's strip away all of this stuff. Let's strip this away, because right now it's just noise. This does not set them aside from any other tech finance leader. And so I ask them, I say, let me hear your authentic voice. I want to hear you for you. I want to hear what your passions are. I want to hear what you're really obsessed with learning about. I want to hear what you think is the coolest new technology development, or what you think a major change in the organization could be. What are some improvements that you have in mind? And I try to take these ideas and these thoughts and go based on their personality and help them shape a brand accordingly. Because it's so easy to get lost in the jargon and the trends and the terms and the things that we see all around us. You just end up a drop in the ocean, and that's not going to help with you becoming the real version of yourself and authentically showing up. And that language just ends up becoming noise. People hear it all day, every day. So what people don't hear enough of is you, your actual ideas, your way of thinking, your convictions. When you build from that place, you don't attract everyone, but you attract the right people. Trends absolutely fade, and they fade so fast because the way people are consuming trends right now is at such a fast rate, but they also turn over really fast as well. Authenticity does not. And when someone resonates with your real voice and your real person on the inside, they end up staying and becoming a part of your tribe because it resonates. You connect, you relate. And of course, it's fun to jump on some trendy terms or expressions that you hear on social media here and there. But, again, you hop on and you hop off and you move on, but you always make sure that you are showing up with the real thoughts and feelings and things that God put inside you to be who you are meant to be in this time and place that you're in right now. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the second category, which is body image, and self-image. This list is fairly straightforward, so I'll move through it a bit more quickly. First, extreme crash diets before an event, a vacation, or some sort of milestone. Yeah, we all did it, and sometimes we need it, but it's a little bit reckless. What's refined is not urgency, but it's consistency. It's putting your health first as a lifestyle, not as a last-minute reaction. You're really showing yourself and you're showing the world how much you value yourself when you treat your body with consistency. Instant outcomes don't last, and knowing that, like really, really knowing it, it's a sign of maturity. So refinement is understanding that the results you actually want are going to require time and effort and rhythm and patience. And it's that pace, it's pacing yourself, choosing habits that you can sustain over a longer period of time instead of cycles that will leave you depleted. The next topic is binging. So obviously this is a faux pas, but binging on food, alcohol, substances, sleep, overspending, shopping, sugar, anything that's not really great for you. So binging is actually not so much about indulging. We easily tend to relate binging as a way of indulgence, but it's not. It's actually about avoidance. It's about filling a void or numbing something that has not been addressed on the inside. So what does refinement look in this angle? Refinement for this would look like regulation. So moderating, having awareness of your internal state, being able to stop and say, hey, something is not feeling right now, and that's why I feel like escaping. I feel like this negative feeling inside me that I want to go and have a drink. I need to go out tonight. I need to go shopping. I want to distract myself. I want to do something. Those are all escapes. But instead, what you have to do is pause and try to respond to that emotion. Emotional regulation is one of the clearest markers of refinement. So you have to be able to name what you're feeling, that anxiety, that loneliness, the restlessness, the depression, whatever it might be, without immediately trying to drown that in a reaction of binging on something. The capacity to stay present with yourself is so important here. Everything else truly builds from your inner world, from what you're experiencing and feeling on the inside. Next one is about dressing purely for attention. So when your fashion becomes about provoking a reaction rather than just expressing yourself, it starts to get reckless. Style is great. Having a sense of personal style is amazing, but that intention matters. Clothing carries a certain essence about who you are, and when the intention is, I need external validation, it shows. So what's refined is dressing in a way that reflects your personal style and actually flatters your body. Everyone's built differently. Height, proportions, curves, structures. What looks effortless and gorgeous on one person can look really forced and awkward on another person. Refinement comes from that discernment. It's knowing what works for you and not just what's trending everywhere else. There's a big difference between being attractive and being overly exposed. Being put together means you're not squeezing yourself into something that leaves nothing to the imagination. You're not packaging yourself up for consumption. You're presenting yourself to the world with intention and with an expression of who you are on the inside. And it's not materialistic. Clothes do play a part in your presence and your attractiveness and all of that, but it shouldn't be stealing all the attention away from who you are as a person. And this applies across the board, women and men. There's something very unrefined about looking like you didn't pause to consider how you're showing up. And it's not about what people think about you, but it's about your intentions of how you're presenting yourself to the world and why you're doing it that way. So pulling yourself together isn't about being rigid or being conservative. It's about self-respect. It signals, I have a sense of self-worth, a sense of awareness. It says, I'm intentional. And I know it can easily be read as, oh, you're being materialistic and you're like overthinking this. I don't think so. I mean, there's something about someone who's put together, someone who values their inner self and outer self in a way where they pay attention to how they're dressing. And it's not even about name brands or anything like that, because honestly, wearing haute couture or high-end brands does not make you look like you respect yourself more than someone who doesn't wear brands. It's really just about having a refined sense of taste, having an understanding of what looks really flattering on yourself, and then also deciding when I leave the house or even in the house, I want to put myself together in a certain way, whether it's in really comfy sweats or a gorgeous long coat or beautiful dresses and suits, whatever it might be. It's really about putting in the thought of, I want to represent who I am on the inside and my sense of self-worth, also by what I wear. Next on the list, we're still on the topic of body image, body self-image. And so next is tearing down other people's bodies to feel better about your own. Women to women, men to men. This is obviously never empowering. It doesn't build confidence and it distracts from the real work that we have to do within ourselves. So the moment your self-image depends on someone else being smaller, weaker, or worse, it immediately becomes unstable. Because comparing yourself to something that's worse is never going to make you better. It's just as simple as that. So what is refined is honoring different body types while staying focused on your own plans. I believe deeply in this. Compete with yourself. That's it. That's the work. Looking sideways doesn't improve your body. It doesn't give you clarity. It doesn't move you forward by any means. Because no one else has your structure, your DNA, your history, your conditions, your lifestyle, your health, your starting point. So that comparison actually just blurs your own sense of responsibility to yourself and allows you to make excuses and find reasons for why you can't reach your goals or even start on a path to reach your goals. So the refined version of that is looking to yourself. Like pretty much everything I've said throughout this entire episode, it's looking to yourself. Where do you want to feel stronger? Where do you want to see improvement? Where do you want to be aesthetically more pleasing? Where do you want to be healthier? Where do you want to see a change in yourself? Feel more comfortable in your own body? These are areas that are definitely worth your attention. So this doesn't mean you can't admire others. Comparison's different from admiration. And inspiration is super healthy. I'm always looking for inspiration. And when it comes to body image and such, I look for women who have a similar body type to mine. So for women, we have those body types you would have seen, the different shapes. And there's about 4 to 6 different body types for women. So I know what mine is, and I look for women who have that body type who are physically way advanced from me. So they're in their prime fitness level, and I look at their body types to kind of anchor me forward towards having a vision of what I would like to look like. Am I going to look exactly like that person? Probably not, because, more than likely they are at the gym 2 hours every single day or 6 days a week, which I do not have the time for. But I look at someone with a similar body type to mine and I think long term. I think over the course of the next few years, I want to reach something close to that. And that gives me a visual, because sometimes you can't achieve something unless you can see it. And so I feel like that really helps with having an idea of what to aim for. But if I were to look at someone who had a different type of body from mine, say someone who's super tall and lean and more of a straight figure, then I would constantly be in comparison and constantly be fighting the person that God made me to be. I would constantly work against myself and never actually be able to achieve those goals because they do not fit the mold that I'm in. So I have to find something that makes sense for who I am and aim for that. This next part might sound so cheesy, but learn to love yourself. Love the way that you're made. Maybe your body looks different from your ideal body type that you've always wanted, but there's a reason why you have this body. There's a reason why you were made the way that you're made, and there are going to be people that resonate with you. There are going to be people that are drawn to you, attracted to you, that are coming towards you because you are the way that you are. You're meant to represent what you have in its best form. So we don't settle for, the worst form of ourselves. We constantly aim for better, but we love the person that we are on the inside, and that love will actually transform the way you look at life. When you start loving the person that you are, so physically even, the way your body is shaped, the features that you have, the hair, the nails, the skin that you have, when you start loving these things about yourself, your body will begin to work with you and not against you, because you are creating through your positive words and through these feelings of gratitude and feelings of just goodness, when you start operating out of that, your body, your life will automatically start coming into alignment. You will feel more beautiful. You will draw in more people. You will attract more people, specifically because you are working with what God has created you to be. You're working in alignment and not against it. It might be things about yourself that you don't love. Like you might say, I don't love my hair, or I don't love my legs or my arms, or whatever it might be for you. Every person has something about themselves that they don't love, and that's completely fine. But if you're to take that thing and put it on a pedestal and give that thing the glory and give that thing the biggest voice, you're going to end up hating yourself, and you're not going to get towards achieving any of your goals because you're so fixated on what's wrong. You will destabilize yourself. You will be counterproductive, and you won't be able to move yourself forward toward an anchor or a goal or a vision. The only comparison that actually works is the version of you from yesterday to who you are today to who you are tomorrow. That's the only person you can realistically improve on, realistically compare yourself to. And when you stay in that lane, your progress, it becomes very sustainable and grounded. It becomes something that is real, that you could grasp, that will pull you towards the best version of yourself. Next, ignoring your body's signals for rest and nourishment. So this is reckless, and it's a quiet form of recklessness because it doesn't feel dramatic. It's not like you're actively doing something bad until it catches up with you. So your body is constantly communicating to you. You know, you'll feel that fatigue, the hunger, the tension, burnout. None of these things show up out of nowhere. They're always a reaction to something that you've been doing slowly behind the scenes. So refinement is listening. It's honoring what your body is asking for. And I'm so guilty of this. I am so bad with sleep. I don't know why for the life of me, but I stay up pretty late most nights. My mind is just on and it doesn't shut off. And I have a really hard time shutting it off at night, especially on the mornings where I have to get up really early and shower and get ready before my kids, then get my kids ready for school, and then drop them off at 2 different schools. When I'm on that busy morning routine, I feel so tired and drained that I have no life inside of me except for that coffee that fuels me a bit in the morning. But honoring what your body is asking for, whether that's food or movement or rest or stillness, is refinement. So when those signals are consistently ignored, the body eventually forces a pause, and the cost of that is way higher than paying attention to the small little signals that it gives you. So how you treat your body shows up everywhere. In your skin, in your hair, in your posture, in your energy, in your long-term health, even in how you eat. If you don't get rest, you end up craving sugar more. And maybe you don't give in to the sugar, but then you still feel tired throughout the day. If you don't get your macronutrients, again, you crave sugar more, or your sleep gets messed up. Everything is a cycle. Think of it like your body isn't this tool for instant gratifications. You just put in it and do whatever you want to it for that moment to feel good. It's rather a lifetime investment, and being refined is treating it with the kind of care that it needs. Treat your body the way you would treat your child, or treat your body the way you would treat your best friend. We always tend to treat others kinder than we treat ourselves, and for that reason, think of your body or your needs as this other person that you're caring for. And that automatically sets you in this mental state of you have to take care of it, you have to look after it, you have to be better, you have to be kinder to that entity. So lastly, for this category of body image and self-image, we have how we post online. So posting purely for attention, posting thirst traps or things with pick-me energy, anything driven by the need to be noticed or validated, it feels reckless because of the intention behind it. When something is posted to extract some sort of validation or to be chosen or to be affirmed by others, it has like this different energy about it. And that energy is noticeable. So presence speaks before words do, right? So how you are motivated matters. Because when your content comes from a place of, I need validation, I need admiration, I need some sort of interaction with people telling me something about myself, it comes from a place of lack. And that creates the opposite of what you're trying to do. It creates the opposite of your intentions. So instead of connection, it creates noise and the wrong type of attention. And instead of attracting the right people, it creates like this sense of reaching and grasping desperately for something. So refinement is posting with intention. It's sharing what actually reflects your life, your values, your mood, your message. Posting because something feels worth sharing. It's, maybe a meal that you had, or a place that you went to, or something that's beautiful, or just a moment you shared with people, or just something that you're actively doing that day. Those are healthy expressions that come from a place of fullness, a place of wanting to connect with people, to, offer insight or bring lightness or make people laugh, or simply just to, let people into your world in a way that they can experience the real version of you. That kind of sharing, it builds community and it invites people to feel connected to you in some way instead of a reaction. So usually that's how I try to approach my own presence online. Most of what I share is simple pieces of my day or places I'm going to, meals, moments. Sometimes it's meant to spark encouragement, sometimes joy, and sometimes it's just letting you in to see what's going on in the day. But the intention is always the same, to share from a place that feels aligned and real. So with that, we'll continue this conversation in the next episode for part 2. And we will be diving deeper into reckless versus refined behaviors when it comes to lifestyle, social habits, and feminine and masculine energies. These topics feel especially layered and they're definitely interesting. And so join me on the next episodes. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for listening. If this resonated with you, feel free to share it with a friend or someone who might enjoy it or need it. Feel free to leave a comment on my Spotify or on the Instagram page. I love connecting with you. And so to keep up with future episodes, you could also follow at Secret Rooms Podcast on Instagram. And if there's something personal that you want to ask or talk about or explore, my DMs are open there. I will talk to you soon on the next episode.